Alright guys, what's up? Good morning. I'm going to be going over the significant severe weather risk happening across portions of Illinois here on Friday, and starting to see an uptrend on a few things. So here's the highlight of the severe weather risk here on Friday. Most of the significant happening in the portions of red here and the outline of black as well. So we're probably going to see a higher tornado risk across portions all the way up to the I-80 corridor across eastern and southeast Iowa, central and southern Illinois, all the way down to portions of eastern Arkansas, eastern Missouri, western Kentucky, western Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northwest Alabama. So in that portion corridor, especially where that low-level jet is really cranking in there. We got the overlap with instability, nice lapse rates, perfectly largely curved photographs there, almost taking up the whole entire sounding. That just kind of curve all the way off. So much low-level wind shear in the environment. I mean, it's just going to go nuts in some areas, especially where we get those maximum 3 km cape and 0 to 3 kilometer helicity maxing in those areas as well. So it's going to be very interesting. Someone's going to either see a strong tornado or a landspout fest. I mean, it's going to be one of the or. Landspout fest if you get the squally, more line, more easterly winds in the quad boundary set up near the low pressure system across Iowa. I think there's going to be like a cold core or a landspout fest right here, possibly, especially in that northeastern northern quadrant of the low pressure system. And then you get the main initial broken line of supercells right here. They're just kind of moving east northeast fairly quickly. So that's what I'm thinking here, with what's going to be happening, what's going to be unfolding here. Like I said, everything's definitely coming together here for a significant severe weather risk. So like I said, the enhanced risk is all the way up to the I-80 corridor. So there's going to be probably a large 10% risk for tornadoes, and then probably a 5% included into portions of the Chicagoland area tomorrow. So Chicagoland area here is in the slight risk. And then down here across the I-80 corridor of Ottawa, Peru, Princeton, towards Devonport, you're in the enhanced risk for significant severe weather, damaging winds, of course. So if we just read the SPC. Go ahead. I haven't read the SPC yet, but we can overlook it. Okay, Mississippi, Lower Ohio, Tennessee, blah blah. Where's it talk about? There it is. Okay. Yep. So they're talking about QLCS tornadoes along that the squally line that does make its way into portions of central and northern Illinois. So we could be seeing some QLCS tornado type of event across portions of northern Illinois and eastern Iowa. Due to the limiting factor would be moisture. That would kind of just make it more of a damaging wind event, but we'll see which one does play out. Everything's continuing to be on the uptrend. It's going to be very hot. Of course, like upper 70s and 80s in some locations across portions of Illinois on Friday. But that's what we're looking at with that. And then the severe weather risk goes into the next day into portions of the Ohio Valley too. So very interesting next couple of days. But what does the area forecast discussion here say for Friday? Okay. Let's go look at some of the forecast models here now. The NAM 3KM was a cold core set up in Nebraska. That's funny. Yeah, it's going to be a big time, late time. I think this is going to be a late overall setup for portions of Illinois, because the NAM 3KM, it's already like 00Z, which is like 7 p.m. basically, and it's already still showing the squall line, barely making it to the Illinois-Missouri border yet. So this could be a late time overnight event, QLCS event, going into portions of central northern Illinois. Look at that 700 millibar jet core there, 80 knot plus. That's nuts. Yeah, those photographs are more than sufficient for QLCS tornado event. Look at that. You have some moisture pooling right there on the line, on the frontal. 59 dew point, 62 temperature. Now look at the photographs. It's going to do it. You have so much shear in the environment. You only need 200 to 500 cape to get a tornado on Friday. That's how nuts the shear is at this point. And I'm not worried about the LCL heights, because our LCL heights are extremely low across the environment. So by 03Z, which is like roughly 9 or 10 p.m., it's going to be across portions of central and northern Illinois, I would think. So that's why we're getting these soundings here. But like I said, I think we're going to have a lot of tornado warnings here across portions of central and northern Illinois and eastern Iowa, I think late Friday night into the overnight hours, maybe even up to midnight. I don't know if this is going to make it to the Chicagoland area based on instability, based on how much moisture is being pulled, but there is the possibility it could make it that far north as well, because there's moisture pulling big time going into the overnight hours. I mean, the moisture is pulling up here big time. 58, 59 dew points will get the job done with how strong the low-level wind shear is across the area. So I think there's a good chance that we could be seeing, you know, possible tornadoes in central northern Illinois and eastern Iowa on Friday now. That's what I'm thinking here. So I'm going to have a forecast up later on today, of course. Or when I get off of here, I'm going to probably do a forecast for where I think the best tornado probabilities across Illinois are going to be. I'm going to be focusing Illinois forecasts for right now. But I think there's a really good chance, because there's a drier punch coming in. And that's going to force a lot of that, you know, convection to stay strong. Probably more broken line or linear with some QLCS tornado event because of how strong the forcing is with that drier punch as well. So everything's just going to blow up pretty quick, and it's going to be flying pretty fast off to the northeast. So if there is a tornado warning, just make sure to be safe. Just be, you know, ready just in case you have a tornado warning going across the area, because these lines of storms are going to be moving northeast fairly quick, probably like 55, 60 mile an hour, like moving that quick off to the northeast. So this does kind of remind me of the overnight event that we had that one time where we had a lot of QLCS tornadoes across the Chicagoland area. You know, the one down the street from Manhattan, you had, you know, a few of them in Bolingbrook and Romeoville. So it kind of reminds me of how this event's going to unfold. That's what we're kind of looking here. Well, if you're still in Girl Scout cookies in Wilmington, I think you should be fine. We're not going to see severe weather till probably late Friday night. So we're talking about like after 8 p.m., 9 p.m. So that's what we're looking at. But yeah, I mean, it's looking fairly decent right now. I don't think the HER model reaches quite out yet. Yeah, it only gets out to 12Z morning. But there's a big difference on moisture return between the HER and the NAM models. So the HER model kind of being the outlier because it just got in reach. But the HER model is really showing lack in dew points, while the NAM model is showing a decent amount of moisture. So NAM model would be worst case scenario right now. HER model would be bust potential, limiting factor, moisture. So two things kind of go into play here, I would say. But it's just a waiting game to see what happens at this point. And, there is going to be severe weather for sure. Like I said, the enhanced risk is all the way out there. You got the slight risk there. But Like I said, your low pressure system is going to be here. It's going to be like this, and there's going to be supercells basically firing along this front that's moving through. Dry air punch coming in from the back. You got strong level of wind shear coming out to the south, southeasterly winds, some moisture. So it's going to be like this quadrant right here. It's going to get probably some decent tornado warnings here across central northern Illinois, eastern Iowa. So that's what I'm thinking here. That's my forecast at this point. Low's going to be here. You're going to have cold core tornado setup. I mean, depending on how the low cranks out, honestly, because the NAM model has it like quality boundary going all the way back around, where it's cold core setup just all the way around. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned for later updates, but there's going to be some weather across portions of central and northern Illinois, obviously. So here we go.